Hello, everyone. I'm Denise Boggs, and I want to welcome you as we journey together through healing the heart. We're going to continue today on how important it is for your heart to be healed during these end times. You know, we're in perilous times. Everybody feels it. We all feel it. And, you know, like I shared with you in the last podcast, it says that men's hearts will literally fail them during these days. That doesn't mean everybody's going to fall out in a heart attack. No, that's not what it means. No, it means your heart for God. You're passionate for the Lord. You've got a calling from God, a plan, a purpose. Uh-oh, what happens? All of a sudden, it goes sideways. What's wrong? What's happening? So today I'm going to talk about one of the enemy's most subtle attacks that's under that category I talked about in the last podcast of fear. Remember? Men's hearts will fail them for fear. Okay. One of the byproducts, but not just a byproduct. I'm going to read this verse. It says here that, see, discouragement is a byproduct of fear. Listen to this. The courage of many people in these last days, Luke 21:26, says their courage will falter. Okay, discouragement is when your courage falters. Your courage, okay? Discouragement. Now, you may have experienced discouragement, but what degree? Well, some people face it daily. Others face it maybe weekly, monthly. But discouragement is an attack of the enemy. You've got to know what it is so you don't give in to it. You don't, listen, discouragement is an absolute attack because the word I'm going to throw something at you here. The prefix dis in the Greek is Hades. It is an attack from Hades. It's an attack from the underworld to pull you down to a place of complete death. Death of a vision, death of a marriage, death of a ministry, just death. Okay, Hades. Now I'm going to unpack this, but listen to me very carefully. Discouragement is not an emotion. It's an attack. You've got to see it as an attack and not give in to it. Do you know how many people say, oh, I'm just so discouraged? And they just then go on and talk about what they're discouraged about. Well, yes, you got to talk about it. You got to get out of it quickly. Okay? Quickly. And in this whole series I'm doing on how important it is to have your heart healed for the days we're in is the fact that discouragement can be something you've been dealing with since childhood, okay? It's rooted in childhood. I'm going to give you a verse right now. I'm going to turn to it here in my Bible and look in your Bible, but I'm going to read it out of the Amplified, and it says this: Fathers, do not provoke or irritate or exasperate your children with demands that are trivial, okay? Unreasonable. Do you know as a child, if your father, this is fathers, put something on you that you were not capable of doing, it wasn't according to your skill set, your age, your maturity, whatever, and you were not able to accomplish the task to get, hey, son, I'm so proud of you. He didn't give you any affirmation because he put something on you that should not have been put on you. This is what it says in the end of this verse. This is what it says. It says that he will lose heart and become discouraged and unmotivated with their spirit broken. Now, how do you know if you're discouraged? Well, you want to sit down, you want to take a nap, you're not motivated. You don't want to do anything. You can be in full steam going forward in the calling of God. And all of a sudden, discouragement hits. You sit down, take a nap, watch TV, whatever you do, and all of a sudden, there's no motivation, okay? Now, you've just come under an attack. We're just going to go ahead and say it out loud. That's an attack. Don't let people around you just comfort you during discouragement. No, they need to help you get back up, okay? We got to get back up. Because if you stay in discouragement, I'm going to put on the screen the downward spiral that discouragement takes you in, okay? I'm going to put it on the screen right now. And discouraged, like I said, is a loss of courage. The next one is disoriented. The next one is disappointed. Then the next one is disorder, which is depression, disorder, and then death. It's just a continual downward spiral. And look, because the powers of darkness are operating, and that the prefix to this, dis, is literally the god of Hades. It's not our God. It's Hades, death, bringing you down to a place to completely give up the plan and purpose that God had for you. The reason He brought you to planet Earth at this time in history. Okay? Now, how does this even connect to healing the heart? Well, we've got to go back in time. We've got to go back. We've got to go back to when did you feel discouraged? And even when did you feel first that your dad, let's just talk about dads, was disappointed in you? Okay? Do you know that you can embrace a disappointment and you become a disappointment? You literally take on that identity. I'm a disappointment. Dad's not, no, nothing I do is good enough. Nothing I do, nothing I do. And so you carry it as if it's you, okay? I'm going to give you a definition of disappointment, okay? And discouragement kind of together. All right, here we go. I'm going to read this to you. It says here that a disappointment is an agreement with the enemy to cause you to forfeit your appointed life and remove yourself from the office. Remove yourself. You disconnect. Okay? You may disconnect from people even. That's a part of your appointed life, but you disconnect. Okay? And ultimately fail, because disappointment and discouragement is a defeat or failure of hope and expectation. It's giving in. It's giving in to the powers of darkness that's causing you to literally take it on as an identity. Okay? That's why in Ephesians, Paul is telling us how to posture ourselves in these last days. We've got to stay seated in heavenly places in our true identity, high above the principalities and the powers of darkness. This is a power of darkness. It's a principality that's ruling over our country today. Discouragement, disappointment. Some people are giving into despair. Some people are giving into just the disorder. And you can go and a disorder means you're out of order. You're out of control. Your emotions are up and down and up and down. And then they'll say, well, you've got depression. Okay? And so it's like, but we've got to know where it comes from to deal with it. But we've got to, even more than dealing with it, we've got to get healed from it when it first occurred. You see why? Healing the heart is essential for you to be able to stand in these last days. Having done all, I stand. I'm not going to give in. I'm not going to give in to discouragement. I'm not giving in to disappointment. Having done all, I'm going to stand. Stand. Having done all, we stand. Now, I'm going to read 2 Corinthians 4:1. It says, "Therefore, since we have this ministry, just as we receive mercy from God through our salvation, we do not get discouraged." We are not to get discouraged or give in to discouragement or lose our motivation. Okay? Now, we have a great salvation that's been given us. We are saved from it. But you know what? You can give in to it. You're saved from it, but if you don't know it's an attack, you'll give in to it. If you don't know it's an attack, you can think, oh, I'm just having a hard day. Just having a hard day. No, you've got to know what it is. It's an attack from the enemy. And it's an attack according to your assignment on planet Earth. So, of course, every prophet of God right now is getting attacked. I talk with so many bishops and apostles and prophets and pastors daily. And they're getting attacked with discouragement and disappointment. They're getting attacked on every side. And not realizing that we got to go back. We got to get healed from when it first started in order to take back the ground that we gave to the enemy. You didn't even know you were giving him ground. You didn't know. You did not know. But now you know. To whom much is given, much is required. Now, there's going to be a requirement to work through this now, okay? To work through this. And as I'm giving you all of these truths in this podcast, you're going to have to do some work, the work of righteousness, getting some things right, going back in time and seeing, okay, yep, I gave into it there. So I'm going to put a timeline on the screen, and I want you to create your own timeline, and I want you to identify when you first, like, okay, so 0 to 5, was there any discouragement or disappointment? Did you feel like you disappointed Grandpa? Did you disappoint Mom or Dad or your teacher or whoever? 1 to 5. 5 to 10. Every 5-year increment of time in the timeline, I want you to pinpoint. You make a little mark on your timeline and pinpoint who it was that either disappointed you or you became disappointed at them or disappointed at yourself. It doesn't matter. Disappointment is the attack. It doesn't matter which direction. This is Hades is pulling you downward to the underworld to give up and just lay it down, okay? Now, let me say this last thing here. What we're going to do is we're going to put up a link, a page, overcomingdisappointment.com. We're going to have some material on there. And it's a book that I've co-authored. And in this book, it's going to give you some keys to keep working on it. And we're actually the book is going to be launched in a few months, and I'll bring the co-authors on with this podcast, and we'll talk about it because it is one of the most needed revelations of this time in history. So needed, okay? And because you've got to step up to get into your appointed life, because what disappointment does, it pulls you down. So you're going to have to take us one step up, one step to a higher place to even see clearly. You know, when you get in a pit, you can't even see clearly, okay? And so I will come from it from a healing perspective. And Dr. Tony Colson and Lachey Colson are the co-authors, and they'll come from it from the perspective of even the deliverance from it. So we're coming together, we're co-authoring this to help you understand it. But from a healing standpoint, just get started with the healing, because you got to see where it came from, who it came through. If it was Mom, if it was Dad, if it was Grandpa, who did it come through? They were just a vessel. They didn't know. And if Dad said, I know my dad said, I'm just so disappointed in you. Okay. He put it on me. He didn't know. I didn't know I took it on. I'm a disappointment. I am now a disappointment. I took it on at an early age as an identity. And it led to so many lies. I'm worthless. I can never do enough. I can never measure up. All those lies. So you see, it is the enemy. So we've got to see where it comes from in order to start getting your heart healed and clear and your mind renewed with truth of who you really are, because you are not a disappointment to God. He loves the way He created you, okay? You're not a disappointment to Him. And so you've got to know that being discouraged is an enemy trying to get you disappointed, okay? And disappoint you so that you'll step out of your appointed life. So if you're realizing in this podcast you've been kind of on that downward spiral, today is the day. Wake up, see it, come out of agreement with it in Jesus' name. God bless you.